In the grand theatre of life, there are few things as captivating and inspiring as a true comeback. A comeback, you see, is not merely a return to a former position or state. It is an act of resurgence, a revival, a renaissance of the spirit. It is the epitome of human resilience, a testament to our innate ability to rise from the ashes, stronger, fiercer, and more determined than ever before. Imagine the boxer, knocked to the canvas, tasting defeat, and yet, with grit and sheer willpower, he rises. He is not just fighting his adversary, he is fighting his own doubts, his own fears. His comeback is not just a win against his opponent, it's a victory over his own limitations. Or consider the artist whose work is rejected, ridiculed, and dismissed, yet she continues to paint, to create, to imagine. Her comeback is not just about recognition or accolades. It's a validation of her passion, her creativity, her essence. A comeback is a universal narrative. It transcends borders, cultures, and languages. It resonates with each one of us because it mirrors our own struggles, our own battles, our own victories. It reminds us that setbacks are not the end, but rather the beginning of a new chapter, a new journey, a new opportunity to prove ourselves. The essence of a comeback is not just about overcoming adversity. It's about transformation. It's about the metamorphosis from a caterpillar to a butterfly, from a seed to a mighty oak. It's about the journey from darkness to light, from despair to hope, from defeat to triumph. And the beauty of a comeback is that it is not exclusive. It is not confined to the realms of sports, arts, or business. It is a part of our everyday lives. It is about the student who fails but doesn't give up, the employee who is fired but finds a better opportunity, the entrepreneur whose first venture fails but who goes on to build a successful empire. Now let's delve into 4 extraordinary tales of comeback that have left an indelible mark on the sands of time. Our first story takes us back to a time when all hope seemed lost, yet the human spirit refused to be extinguished. In the heart of the bustling city, there was a man named Samuel. Samuel wasn't your typical hero. He was an ordinary man with an ordinary job. His life was simple until one day, it wasn't. A sudden illness struck him, stripping him of his health, his job, and his sense of security. His life, once filled with laughter and light, was plunged into darkness. His days were filled with hospital visits, medical tests, and a constant, relentless pain. His nights were filled with fear, uncertainty, and a deep, gnawing despair. He was at the lowest point in his life, a point where many would have given up. But not Samuel. Samuel was a fighter. He had always been. Even as a child, he had a spark in him, a spark that refused to be put out, no matter how harshly the winds of adversity blew. And now, that spark was his only source of light in the darkness. He started to fight, to push back against the tide that was trying to pull him under. He fought for his health, for his life, for the chance to see another sunrise, to hear another bird sing, to feel the warmth of the sun on his face. His battle was not an easy one. It was filled with setbacks and disappointments. There were days when he felt like giving up, days when the pain was too much, too overwhelming. But he kept going, he kept fighting, he kept believing. Slowly, very slowly, things started to change. His health started to improve, his pain started to lessen, his despair started to fade, and in its place, hope started to grow. Hope for a new day, for a new life, for a new beginning. And then, one day, Samuel walked out of the hospital. He wasn't the same man who had walked in. He was stronger, braver, more resilient. He had been through the fire, and he had come out the other side, not unscathed, but unbowed. He had faced his fears, his pain, his despair, and he had overcome them. His story is not just a story of survival. It is a story of resilience, of determination, of the indomitable human spirit. It's a story of a man who fell, but who got back up, who was beaten, but who refused to be broken. And thus, from the ashes of despair, our protagonist rose, embodying the true spirit of a comeback. His journey wasn't easy, but it was worth it, because in the end he didn't just survive, he thrived. He didn't just live, he soared, and in doing so he showed us all what it truly means to rise, like a phoenix, from the ashes. Our next tale is about a person who found a second wind when the finish line seemed too far to reach. Imagine, if you will, a man named Samuel. A man who, through the course of his life, had seen more than his fair share of ups and downs. Samuel was a dreamer, a visionary who believed in his heart that he was destined for greatness. But life, as it often does, had a way of throwing curveballs at him. Samuel's journey was not an easy one. He started off with a business venture, pouring his heart, soul, and every penny he had into it. He dreamed of success, of standing atop the pinnacle of his industry. But alas, his business crumbled, swallowed up by the unforgiving tides of the economy. He watched as his dreams shattered into a million pieces, each one a stark reminder of his failure. But Samuel didn't let his initial defeat define him. He chose to persist, chose to fight. He picked up the shards of his shattered dreams and began to piece them back together. He started from scratch, building a new business from the ground up. The journey was daunting, the road filled with obstacles. There were times when he faltered, times when he questioned whether the finish line was too far out of reach. And then, when he least expected it, he found his second wind. It was as if a gust of determination swept through him, pushing him forward, propelling him towards his goal. He worked tirelessly, putting in long hours and making sacrifices. His dedication was unwavering, his resolve stronger than ever. The result was nothing short of miraculous. His new business flourished, growing exponentially. He found success, not just in monetary terms, but in the satisfaction of knowing that he had overcome his failures, that he had turned his life around. He stood atop the pinnacle of his industry, just as he had dreamed, proving to himself and to the world that he was indeed destined for greatness. Samuel's story is one of resilience, of determination, of finding a second wind when all seemed lost. It's a story that resonates with each one of us, reminding us that we too have the power to overcome our failures, to rise from the ashes of defeat and soar towards our dreams. His journey wasn't easy. It was filled with trials and tribulations, with moments of despair and doubt. But he persisted, he fought, and he triumphed. And in the process, he taught us a vital lesson. That it's not about how many times we fall, but about how many times we pick ourselves up and keep moving forward. A testament to the human spirit, this story proves that it's never too late to make a comeback. Our third story is one of unseen battles and victories that echo louder than any defeat. Meet Hannah. Hannah's story isn't one of public triumphs or accolades, but rather it's a tale of personal battles fought and won in the quiet corners of her life. Her journey may not have been splashed across newspapers or celebrated on television, but it is a comeback story that deserves to be told. Hannah's battle began when the shadows of depression and anxiety crept into her life, slowly but surely consuming her joy and vitality. These silent enemies waged a war within her, threatening to shatter her spirit. Yet Hannah refused to let them win. She was determined to reclaim her life, to rise stronger than ever. Her resilience was her weapon. Each day, she took small steps towards recovery. She learned to acknowledge her feelings, to understand them, and to work through them. She practiced self-care, indulged in hobbies that made her happy, and surrounded herself with love and support. Hannah's victories were not always visible to others. They were quiet triumphs, a day without a panic attack, a week without succumbing to the crippling weight of depression, a month of steady progress. But these victories were as significant as any public triumph, for they were battles fought and won against formidable foes. The road was long and arduous, filled with setbacks and heartaches. There were times when Hannah felt like giving up, when the weight of her struggles seemed too heavy to bear. But each time she picked herself up, dusted herself off, and fought on. She refused to let her struggles define her. And then, one day, Hannah realized that she was not just surviving, but thriving. She was no longer defined by her struggles, but by her strength and resilience. She had not just overcome her battles, but had emerged stronger, more resilient, and more compassionate. Hannah's story is a testament to the power of resilience. It is a reminder that our greatest victories are often those fought and won in the quiet corners of our lives, unseen and uncelebrated by the world. It is an affirmation that our struggles do not define us, but how we rise from them does. Hannah's comeback story may not have been a public one, but it was a victory nonetheless. It was a victory over the darkness that had once consumed her, a victory over the silent enemies that had threatened to shatter her spirit. It was a victory that echoed louder than any defeat. In the face of adversity, they proved that a true comeback is not just about winning, but about rising stronger than ever. Our final tale is one of an underdog whose determination and courage led to a triumphant comeback. Imagine a life filled with hardship where every turn seems to lead to another brick wall. Picture a person born into a world that seemed to conspire against them from the start. This is the story of an individual who, despite the odds, clung to a dream and refused to let go. This person, our protagonist, was not born with a silver spoon in their mouth. They came from humble beginnings, their families struggling to make ends meet. The world had already labelled them an underdog, but they refused to accept that tag. They had a dream, a vision, a purpose that kept them going, and they clung to it with unwavering tenacity. Their journey was not easy. They faced adversity that would have made most crumble. They were knocked down, pushed aside, and told time and time again that they could not make it. But each time they fell, they got back up, dusted themselves off, and started again. Their spirit was unbreakable, their resolve unshakable. They stared adversity in the face and smiled because they knew that every setback was a setup for a comeback. The world was harsh, but they were harsher. They trained relentlessly, honing their skills, strengthening their mind and body. They faced each challenge with courage, each setback with resilience. They were not afraid of failure, for they knew that failure was not the opposite of success, but a part of it. They knew that the road to triumph was paved with trials and tribulations, and they were prepared to walk it, no matter how long or arduous. And then, the day came when their efforts bore fruit. The underdog, who had been dismissed and disregarded, stood tall on the stage of triumph. They had proven the world wrong. They had shown that courage and determination could overcome any obstacle, that an underdog could rise to the top. Their victory was not just a personal achievement, but a message to the world, a testament to the power of resilience and the spirit of a comeback. Their story is a reminder that it is not the circumstances of our birth, but the strength of our spirit that defines us. It is a testament to the indomitable human spirit that refuses to be defeated, that rises from the ashes, stronger and more determined. It is a story of hope, of courage, of resilience, and most importantly, of triumph. They showed us that the size of the stage does not matter. What matters is the size of the comeback. As we conclude these incredible tales of comeback, let's reflect on their common thread: resilience. Our first story, The Phoenix Rises, was a testament to the power of rising from the ashes, embodying the essence of resilience. The Second Wind showed us that even when we feel we've given our all, there's always a reservoir of strength within us. Our third tale, The Unseen Victory, reminded us that often the greatest battles are the ones fought in silence, where resilience is the silent warrior. Lastly, the final triumph demonstrated that the path to victory is often paved with failures, yet it is resilience that keeps us moving forward. Each of these stories is a testament to the indomitable spirit of resilience. It's the lifeblood of every comeback, the beating heart of every triumph. It's the silent whisper telling us to rise whenever we stumble, to endure, to persist. Remember, it's not about how many times you fall, but how many times you rise. For every setback, there's a potential for an incredible comeback.